Hello everyone, welcome to Success Story of Sellers. Today we will talk to the Miss Shristi Sharma, an entrepreneur, a seller, a very talented and hardworking woman. She's an incredible seller who is dealing in pet products. So let's get started. Hello, Miss Shristi Sharma.
Hello, hi, thanks for having
So
me.
थैंक यू सो मच. तो सबसे पहले मैं स्टार्ट करती हूँ आपके बैकग्राउंड से. लाइक कैसे आपने स्टार्ट किया, क्या आपको एक इंस्पिरेशन मिली, क्या आपका एक टर्निंग पॉइंट था, लाइक कब आपने स्टार्ट किया, ये सारी
ओके,
चीजें हम जानना चाहते हैं. यस.
श्योर श्योर. सो मेरी जर्नी पेट इंडस्ट्री में 2017 में स्टार्ट हुई थी, राइट आफ्टर आई ग्रेजुएटेड फ्रॉम कॉलेज. सो आई एक्चुअली डिड माय बैचलर्स इन आर्किटेक्चर. So I'm a registered architect, but because of my inclination towards dogs, and at that point of time, I had gotten my first pet, who's now a 7-year-old Labrador.
ओके.
I had gotten him, yeah, I had just gotten him. I was facing slight complications, and I thought I need to understand better to have a better sort of, bond, better sort of trust, amongst the species and us. So that was the reason I was reading a lot about it. I was just in my last semester of college. I was just graduating, and at that point of time I had come across couple of workshops and courses to for pet owners to understand their dogs better, try to understand what they're doing, what they're expecting, how they communicate, what their thought process is like. And that's how I eventually got myself into the industry, starting off with taking up courses to understand the dogs better. Basically, that was primarily just from the mindset that I just need to understand how to raise my dog in a better way for him to be much more obedient. But eventually, as and when, time passed by and I kept reading about it, kept getting involved with people in the industry, I, sort of had this, I would say, fondness towards, the industry. And I thought probably this is something which is pretty interesting and something I can explore. So I started my journey in 2017 as a professional certified dog trainer,
ओके.
trained for about 2 years. And at the same point of time, I had this vision that, even though I'm training, I want to build something of my own as well. I am
राइट.
training dogs, I'm, doing in-house sessions, personal sessions, consultation sessions, regular training sessions. But at the same point of time, I also wanted to utilize what I had studied for 5 years, which was architecture. And
ओके.
after a lot of brainstorming, that's how Petarchy came into being. And as the name also suggests, Petarchy, which means pet architecture. So
ओके.
that was the whole
दैट्स वेरी
idea,
लाइक कूल.
about yeah, that was actually, the entire idea behind having Petarchy into place, so that we could, with the kind of designs and sort of approach that I had, wanted to help as many dogs as I could. So back in 2000, I would say Petarchy came into existence in 2018.
ओके.
And back in 2018 till about, I would say, 2020, for good 2 years, I was primarily working to design various customized pet furnitures, dog furnitures,
ओके.
like customize dog beds, dog house, different types of dog crates, wooden crates, steel crates, as per the requirements of the dog and the pet owners. Understanding what the dog needs, the specific breed needs, what their requirement, breed specific requirement is, and at the same point of time, what sort of budgets do the pet owners have, to work on a design that would fit their budget, that would fit with the interiors of the house. So let's say if they're placing a pet furniture, dog furniture in their room, it should not stand out कि अलग से ये cage type या जाली type जैसे traditional crates होती है वैसे लगे. It should be able to blend well कि कोई भी उस room में enter कर रहा है तो they cannot make out कि ये dog house है basically.
ओके.
उनको देखने से ऐसे ही लगे कि वही same polish finish या veneer finish या let's say wooden work type finish है, जैसे यूजुअली किसी के भी घर में कोई भी फर्नीचर की होती है, टेबल्स, बेड, चेयर्स वगैरह जैसे होती है, सेम वैसे ही. So that was the journey for initial 2 years. Then in 2019, end of 2019, right before COVID had hit, I had
या.
actually gone to London. It was just more of like a vacation to understand what I want to do further and how
ओके.
I want to proceed. Because at that point of time, I was managing both Petarchy and I was managing the training sessions as well. So I was
ओके.
basically riding two boats. So I had to
ओके.
make a call whether I want to stick to both, or let's say if I have to go for one, which one should that be? So I thought I just, mentally, I just need some break. I just need some space. So my maternal uncle stays in London. That's why I thought that, it's going to be a nice 3 month sort of vacation to go out there. And especially Europe is, great during Christmas time and New Year's
True,
time.
true, true.
I
Yeah.
thought it's going to be a nice sort of vacation. I'll just go there, try and de-stress myself, and then I'll think how I want to proceed with the next year, 2020. And while I was there, I thought I'll, obviously get in touch with as many experts as I can over there. And that's when I got in touch with a couple of company owners over there. I got in touch with a couple of experts who were trainers, groomers, behaviorists over there. And that's when I understood the difference between Indian market and the European market, the difference between the kind of products that are here in the Indian market versus what's available in, let's say, the States or America, sorry, Canada, or the
Mm-hmm.
entire Europe for that matter.
Okay.
So that's when I got in touch with three companies. One is Starmark, which is based out of US primarily. The other is ABC Sportclean, which is based out of Germany. And third one is Eurojo, which is based out of Belgium. Got in touch with them, got in touch with them in terms of, had a lot of talks about have being one of their distributors for their products in India. And
Okay.
that's when in 2020, it was more of like a, I would say, changing point or turning point for me, because that's when we decided to grow the company a bit more further, and not just be into manufacturing, but also get into import business and get, let's say, the best of products that are available across the globe to the Indian market as well. And that's how it has been. So since 2020 till now, it's going to be now close to, I would say, 2 years in
Yeah.
Jan. And the journey has been great so far, with obviously lots of ups and downs. There have been learnings,
True.
learning and unlearning both. So yeah, as of now, Petarki is primarily about, it started off with a pet furniture company, but now we're trying to expand and provide, couple of two, three more kind of services, from imported products to even providing education, that we're recently planning to start off with, to give the best to every pet owner and the dog possible as we can.
Oh, that's like very
Yeah,
interesting.
thank
So,
you.
as you mentioned that you started your journey as like very young. So, how
Yeah.
did you get the support? Like, what's your support system?
Okay. So see, the thing is that I have always been, very fond of dogs since my childhood. But
Yeah,
at my home, the situation was such that I was a dog lover. My dad
yeah.
was still okay with the concept of keeping dogs. My mom was, she loved dogs, but from a distance initially. Now, obviously,
Me too. Me too.
yeah,
Okay.
dogs have dogs have entirely changed the equation at home. So,
I think dog
my
is a
mom,
very like friendly animal.
yeah, yeah,
Very
they
trustable.
are,
Very trustable. Yeah.
yeah, they're very loyal, they're very
They are very,
loving.
they are very,
It's always great to have, someone to de-stress yourself every time you
yes,
come
true,
tired,
true.
when you're from a hectic day. There's someone who's coming with their wagging tail, trying to give you all the kisses and hugs.
Yes,
It
true,
really boosts
true.
a lot of confidence. It really, I would say, betters the mood of the specific person. So
Right,
it
right.
really helps that way. So I would say the kind of bond, the kind of connect, the kind of emotions I had always felt from dogs, I've gotten from dogs, and the kind of connect I felt, that has been my biggest sort of, I would say, motivation to get going in the industry, to, provide the best. And obviously, my two four-legged, I would say, brand ambassadors, my two dogs. One is a Labrador who's 7-year-old Cooper, and second, my other dog is a 2-year-old working German Shepherd. Her name is Nix. So they've
Okay,
been, I think, kind of my inspiration behind Petarki, and everything I do is keeping in mind every product that we get is first tested by them. Every ball
okay.
that we get, every leash, collar, everything that we get is tested by them. Every ball, every tuck, obviously, we make sure to play with them at least for a good couple of months to have the strength test in place, to understand what kind of raw material is being used, if it's sturdy enough, and to ensure that it's safe enough for the dog. So all of the testing and the durability and the sturdiness of the product is tested by the two brand ambassadors, and that's how we evolve as we go.
Okay, that's like very nice. So,
Yeah.
I really want to know like on which marketplaces you basically sell your products.
So I actually, when I just started in
Mm-hmm.
2018, it was most of the business that I used to get was through word of mouth, because I used to take up a lot of sessions.
Okay.
There were requirements from pet owners, and as to, they'd be needing a certain sort of, let's say,
Okay.
product.
Not
I used to,
online.
no, when I started in 2018, that wasn't online. It
Okay.
was just word of mouth. Every time I used to go, I used to tell, the pet owners that these are the things you need. And since I was, dealing in couple of, I would say, small scale pet products that I used to buy from couple of, wholesalers, distributors within India, and the units that we used to manufacture in terms of crates, dog house, and all of that, dog beds and all of these products. So whenever I used to visit, anytime a client had a requirement, I used to fulfill them. So most of the work used to happen through word of mouth. So at
Mhm.
that point of time, there was no online presence, nothing for that of
Okay.
that sort. In 2019 was when I decided that let's just, try and explore Amazon. And
Okay.
I started, I think if I'm not wrong, somewhere around mid 2019 19 is when I started.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point of time, I used to handle it all by myself with whatever little information I had, and with whatever sort of understanding I had used to develop by reading articles, watching videos on how to handle Amazon Marketplace. Then, if further in 2020, when I finally got into import, that's when I thought that now it's time to up the game. Now it's time to have a professional, sort of an expert on board who would be knowing what needs to be done, when needs to be done, how to, let's say, boost the sales, how to help in reach into much wider audience by, let's say, running ad campaigns, having specific keywords in place. All of these technical stuff, obviously I didn't have the right knowledge of, and it would have taken a lot of my time. I was obviously, and it's obviously, when you're in business, you have to keep learning, you can never stop learning.
True.
But still, you need to have certain trusted team members on board on whom you can rely. You can be sure that even if you're busy with some other task, they would be taking care as of their own, as of, let's say, that particular companies of their own. That's when I got in touch with Tech to Globe. And that's that they've been, helping me, I would say, since, if I'm not wrong, I think 2020, mid 2020. So it's been more than a year now. They've been phenomenal in the, sort of work they do, in their promptness in terms of reverting on emails, being active on calls, handling my entire seller account, boosting my sales, working on the strategies that we, often sit together to work on weekly. So they've been really supportive and helpful with that. And with the help of that, I've been able to, boost a lot of my Amazon sales. I've been able to grow on Amazon a lot. And along with that, I in 2020 itself, where just right, I think 3 months before getting Tech to Globe on board, I thought we need to have a website also now in place, now that we've gotten to import, now that we have company, registered, because in 2019 we didn't even get the company registered. So when in 2020 I got the company registered, GST in place, all the technical stuff in place, I thought it's, high time we need to have a website also in place for buyers to reach, much wider audience, for buyers to understand the kind of products we deal in, with all the details, images,
Mm-hmm.
pricing. And so yeah, so in terms of the platforms through which I sell, is through our own e-commerce website, through Amazon. Of late, I have gotten on board on Flipkart as well, with the support of Tech to Globe team. And we're now planning to start off with running ads on even social media like Facebook and Instagram.
Like, so what's your challenges you faced in this as a as an online seller?
Okay. Okay. So, see, as an online seller, there, to be very honest, there cannot be just one sort of challenge, that we can list, because Abhi, just previously we were discussing, there are n number of challenges that you face as a business owner, whether it's online, whether it's offline. Every day, is a new day with new sort of, let's say, challenges or problems or difficulties. You just need to have the right sort of balance, sort of mindset, to ensure that no matter what happens, you'd be able to overcome that. If you
Mhm.
have that sort of mindset, you'd be able to get going. If not, then no matter how big or small the problem is, you will be stuck, with that same issue over and over again. But let's say if I have to, um, I would say, mention one or two issues, challenges that I've faced, with especially with online business that I'm doing, let's
Right.
say through marketplaces like Flipkart or Amazon or my own website for that matter, is that communication needs to be very strong when you're dealing online.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're dealing, especially in today's world where there's so much of online fraud and everything that's
Mm-hmm.
happening, it becomes very difficult to gain the trust of an end user. They need to be 200% sure that, let's say, if they're paying for some service or if they're paying for some product, they're going to get it, firstly, for sure. Second, it should be value for money.
So
They
how
should
do
feel
you?
like,
Oh, okay. So how do
yeah, yeah.
you overcome it? Like this
For
type of
that,
thing.
I'll tell you. So for let's say marketplaces like Flipkart or Amazon, they have their entirely altogether very different sort of protocols in place. कि ऐसे ही order place होगा, ऐसे ही dispatch करना है, label भी ऐसे ही होना चाहिए, stick करने वाला ही होना चाहिए. उनके बहुत
Yeah,
terms and
very very
conditions है.
strict rules. Yeah,
Exactly. So with marketplaces, how we can make sure that हम वो एक sense of trust लाएं customers में is by
true.
ensuring that firstly we're sticking to the protocols. We're sticking to whatever rules or, let's say, sort of guidelines that set or particular marketplace has provided. Because if we're following that, the marketplace, let's say Amazon for example, is automatically giving regular updates to the clients. So we don't have to bother. All we have to make sure is that we're regular, we're consistent, we're not delaying the process. So what happens is, for example, abhi, let's say it's quarter to three, I've received an order. If I schedule it at, let's say, 9 p.m. raat ko,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm caught up with some other work, the client will get restless because they're not receiving the next update. So if we are consistent, if we're active, if we have a dedicated person for these marketplaces, it becomes very easier because the functions are smooth in that case. Clients
True.
को regular updates message आते रहेंगे, उनको पता चलता रहेगा ठीक है अब ये हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है. And सबसे बड़ा benefit, एक plus side on selling, for selling on these marketplaces is that कि Amazon, Flipkart, ये marketplaces का already बहुत नाम हो चुका है. तो एक सेंस
Right.
ऑफ ट्रस्ट है. इफ वी सी कपल ऑफ इयर्स बैक, इतना ट्रस्ट नहीं था. आजकल किसी को एक चॉकलेट से लेके कीचेन से लेके एक वैक्यूम क्लीनर भी ऑर्डर करना हो तो सबके दिमाग में पहले अमेजोन आता है.
Amazon है तो, और
बिकॉज
कोविड के बाद तो ये और ज्यादा इंक्रीज हो
एग्जैक्टली,
चुका है ऑनलाइन
एग्जैक्टली,
प्लेटफॉर्म. राइट.
एग्जैक्टली. क्योंकि पहले लोगों के दिमाग में सिर्फ ये था कि अगर घर बैठे आ जाते तो बाहर जाके मेहनत क्यों करो. अब ये भी
एग्जैक्टली.
आता है कि बाहर जाके वायरस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करने का भी रिस्क है. तो
ट्रू.
घर पे अपनी सेफ्टी में आपको बैठे बैठे मिल जाएगा. इन केस नहीं पसंद आया तो वो आके रिटर्न भी कर जाएंगे और
रिटर्न.
पैसे भी वापस
राइट.
मिल जाएंगे.
राइट.
तो एक सेंस ऑफ सिक्योरिटी रहती है. बट टू लिस्ट द नंबर वन चैलेंज दैट आई हैव बीन फेसिंग, जिसकी वजह से हमारी मीटिंग भी पिछले 2 दिन से पोस्टपोन हो रही है और डिले चल रही है, is
ओके.
that there are a lot of, I think still there are a lot of gaps between the seller and the buyer,
ओके.
because the marketplace has certain restrictions that we cannot directly reach out to the buyer. We
हम्म.
can't share our personal information. We can't ask for their personal information. That brings a lot of gap between the seller and the buyer. Because let's say any marketplace, I won't
हम्म.
constantly name one. It would look
ओके.
like I'm not targeting. But
नो
let's say
नो.
any random marketplace जिसके भी तरफ से हम कर रहे हैं, उनके अपने set protocols हैं. Because of that, they're not allowing us to directly communicate, because they're being the third party sort of mediator between the two, which sometimes creates a problem. So I'll give you a very recent example, the issue that I'm facing from last 2 days. Two
ओके.
examples in fact. There was an order that I received from Amazon which was supposed to be
ओके.
delivered to Andaman Nicobar.
ओके.
Now for some reason Amazon doesn't take self ships. I mean, we have to self ship. They don't ship the orders directly, taking it from the seller's place and delivering it to the customer's place directly. If it's a heavy sort of product, so all the crates or big sort of products that you have, छोटे कॉलर जैसे बॉल हो गया, कॉलर हो गया, वो तो usually they do the shipping and all. But for bigger products which are, let's say, above 12 kgs or 15 kgs in weight and are bigger in size, we need to ship it directly. So there was an sort of complication. Since we had to self ship, and since it had to be self shipped to Andaman Nicobar, we were
ओके.
trying to reach out to all our courier partner companies, like, let's say,
ओके.
Delivery, PTC, FedEx, any company you can name of, Kerry, all the companies, Express B, Shiprocket,
ओके.
every one you can think of. But none of them were providing delivery on that specific pin code, because of which the overall delivery experience was getting delayed. we were trying to reach out to the seller support. अब वही है, emails के through conversations और ये सब चलती है, तो बहुत ही slow चल रही होती है. उसकी वजह से ये प्रॉब्लम हो रही थी कि बायर ऑब्वियसली वाज गेटिंग इम्पेशेंट कि कोई अपडेट नहीं आ रही है, अभी तक स्टेटस भी शिप नहीं दिखा रहा है. सो दैट क्रिएटेड अ लॉट ऑफ chaos, which ultimately resulted to, the buyer giving us negative feedback, a one star feedback
Okay.
saying, the seller is not active, this and that. Now
Okay.
obviously I completely understand the buyer doesn't know our side of story. Buyers
Definitely.
do not understand the complications ki sellers are in place, they have accounts, they have certain structures to follow. All they know
Mm-hmm.
is हमने Amazon से order place किया, Amazon लाके देगा हमको,
हाँ,
so
because they
अब
don't.
ठीक है. Exactly. So अब
Yeah.
negative feedback आ गया उसका. अब we cannot do anything. All we can do is follow up because we cannot directly reach out to the client. We're taking directly follow-ups with Amazon.
हाँ.
Amazon is taking their own sweet time to reply because of whatever protocols they have in place.
Right,
So
right, right.
that ऐसी complications ना I won't say बहुत frequent आती है, कम
So,
आती है.
what is the solution, according to you? What is the solution of this problem, according to you, as a seller?
I think I think the solution for this problem is I can completely understand that, since we're dealing with Amazon's client in the first place because it's their
Right.
market.
Amazon always
That's
think
where
about
their customer.
like about their customer.
Exactly. No
Yeah.
problem, no harm in that. If you do not want to provide us with a direct phone number, that's also acceptable and understandable. We,
Mm-hmm.
respect, we understand कि मतलब ठीक है, you want to, protect your sort of clientele or customers का जो भी आपने पूरा network बनाया हुआ है. But they should at least have a third party integration which would allow the seller to chat. Now they can screen the entire chat basically. They can make sure that the seller is not saying something which is offensive, they're not sharing personal information, they're not asking for personal information, but they should provide some sort of platform, कोई एक chat box का option, कुछ भी, जिससे immediately we can connect, with the seller. We can tell them कि ये problem चल रही है, ऐसे हम solve कर देंगे. So you don't have to worry. उसमें क्या होगा कि ये conflicts, misunderstanding, because see, at the end of the day it is impacting the sellers. I'm not just talking about myself, but this I've heard from couple of other sellers also, couple of people in my circle who are selling through Amazon. I've heard through them also that this is a common problem, right?
Right.
So if this can be addressed and solved, I think it will overall increase the customer experience. Because again, जैसे मैं बोल रही हूँ कि client end user को नहीं पता कि किस seller से वो deal कर रहे हैं, but
Mm-hmm.
Amazon से deal कर रहे हैं तो पता है. Amazon का तो experience खराब हो ही रहा है. तो not for sellers, but for their own sort of customer experience, I think if that sort of feature can be introduced, that will really help to have a much clearer and instant sort of, communication in case there's some problem that, comes up while delivering or dispatching the order. So this is
Right,
this
right,
is one.
right,
Yeah.
right. I can
Yeah.
understand your concern. So,
Yeah.
one thing I really want to know, which you mentioned like before, कि
Mhm.
you started your journey like mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
So, what is the one thing which is inspire you to become, mouth to mouth seller to online seller? What
Okay.
is that one thing?
Okay, I'll tell you. See, so when I started, there were two reasons because of which I started off in the beginning thinking कि let's just stay with, the word of mouth wala cheese pe, and let's
Hmm.
just not go. Because number one, I was just starting, I was doing a transition, right? I was just experimenting how the pet furniture market would do in general. Because
Mm-hmm.
I am the first one in India to Petarchy, by the way, is the first and official company, registered company to make pet
Okay.
furnitures in India. There's no
Oh,
other company so far in the market that's registered, that's actively making pet furniture. So
wow,
we're the
that's
first.
that's brilliant. I mean,
Yeah, so since we there was no market for pet furnitures, we were the first to start, we were the first to understand the market. I was not too sure of how it would go. So I was not sure whether to invest, let's say some amount of capital
mm-hmm.
in having a website in place, having a warehouse in place, and जितने भी business के operations के लिए जो basic to begin with start करने के लिए चीजें चाहिए होती हैं. I wanted to be sure that it's even worth it. If I'm putting in, let's say, X amount of money, तो x plus 1 नहीं होगी, x minus 1 नहीं होगी basically.
Mm-hmm.
You understand it? So that was the number one reason because of which I thought I'll start small. I already have a connection within the industry with various experts. I have a small sort of network of pet owners that I have known working from past 2 years. people know me, as a trainer in Delhi NCR. I वो थोड़ा सा, again word of mouth के through थोड़ा सा नाम हो गया था. तो I thought ऐसे ही start करते हैं. The reason that pushed me to get into the online game, to get into e-commerce, getting registered on various websites was when I saw the results that I'm getting, the kind of feedback that I'm getting, the kind of demand that I'm getting was, something that I thought that I need to push it more. कि अभी जो सिलेक्टिव लोग हैं जिनको मैं जानती हूँ, लेट्स से 50, 100, 150, 200 जितने भी हैं, not just in Delhi NCR but in other cities also, other experts that I had, as friends in the industry. I thought कि उनके साथ ही अगर इतना मिल रहा है that I am able to take out, my own expenses, I think it's a good enough sign that I need to push it further, need to reach wider audience, which obviously wouldn't have been possible अगर मैं सिर्फ word of mouth पे जाती, वो बहुत slow growth होती. So I thought that's the right time. Now I have to be in the market. It's time for people to know what Petarchy is as a brand, what we do as a brand, the kind of, services we provide, the kind of products we provide. That the kind of recognition I got, the kind of motivation I got was, I think, the primary reason that I thought that it's probably the right time to, now get into the market and register on
Right,
these
right.
platforms. Yeah.
So now what do you prefer, offline or online?
ऑनलाइन एनी डे ऑनलाइन. एंड स्पेशली सी ऑनलाइन कितना बेनिफिशियल हो सकता है, ये जब मैं ऑनलाइन गेम शुरू करी थी 2018 में, 20 माय बैड 2019 में, तभी
2019.
से, या तभी से मेरे को समझ आने लग गया था कि इट लिटरली हैज द केपेबिलिटी टू टेक योर बिजनेस, लेट्स से x से 5x और 10x, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन आप में कितनी केपेबिलिटी है, आप कितना
Mm-hmm.
हार्डवर्क डालने को तैयार हो, आप कैसी टीम है आपके पास. बिकॉज any business, I think, for it to succeed, for it to grow, you need to have right people in place and main core
Right,
team in place, for
definitely.
which, I'm lucky I got, support of people like Ritu, Rahul, Sukhwinder, who was previously on board, who was actually handling my account. So that team needs to be in place. Now that I got it, I understood that online is the next big game, with obviously time changing, with every passing year, everyone is going so digital, with Modi ji also, promoting digital India. I thought
Right.
probably this is the right thing. And especially after COVID के obviously बहुत सारे negative है,
Yeah,
drawbacks हैं.
if we see like for the future
Yeah, but
perspective, that online thing is
exactly,
much preferable than the
exactly.
offline thing, right? Right.
एग्जैक्टली ऑफलाइन में लेट्स से अगर मैंने नॉर्थ दिल्ली में एक स्टोर खोल लिया तो मैं कितने
Hmm.
ऑडियंस केटर कर पाऊँ सिर्फ नॉर्थ दिल्ली
Right,
की. लेट्स
right,
ठीक है, वन फाइन डे कोई साउथ दिल्ली से आ रहा है, वेस्ट दिल्ली से आ रहा है, एनसीआर से आ रहा है, गुड़गांव नोएडा से, बट वो डेली नहीं आ पाएंगे. नंबर वन, दे माइट जस्ट
right,
कम वंस अ मंथ, वंस इन 2 months, वंस इन 3 months. बट विद
right.
ऑनलाइन आई कैन रीच ऑल अक्रॉस इंडिया. दिल्ली एनसीआर में मैं
But
बोलूंगा उनको.
as online, there is also some risk factors, I think. So
Yeah,
what
there
about
are,
that?
there are.
So what
So,
about that?
I, so
Because
that was my,
yeah,
yeah,
no, no,
tell me,
please
tell me.
continue. No, no, please continue, continue.
No, no. So that's what I was about to come to. That was my second experience that I was about to share with you.
Yeah.
I'll share a anecdote of the recent sort of drawback that I faced being online. Again, one of our customers on one of the marketplaces had bought placed an order for a 40-inch for a dog flight crate basically from us.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We got it dispatched like any regular order. We got it dispatched, got it delivered to them. It reached them. After 2 days, we received a notification saying that they don't want it because, and the remark they had put in was it was different as to what was written or mentioned on the marketplace, basically,
Okay.
which firstly wasn't the case. I knew. बट आई थॉट ठीक है, कभी कभी होता है कस्टमर्स को रिटर्न करना होता है, कभी कभी कोई अप्रोप्रिएट रीजन नहीं मिलता है, सो वी हैव टू जस्ट गो विद व्हाटएवर वी फील इज क्लोज इनफ. सो वी थॉट कि ठीक है ये केस होगा. देन after another, I think 2 days or 3 days, I received another notification that the refund has been initiated to the said customer. And I
Okay.
said, okay, ठीक है, fair enough. Obviously, we've gotten the product back. We have to initiate the refund. Right. Just yesterday, I received the box back. And to my surprise, it was supposed to be 40-inch at least in length. To my surprise, it was just, I would say, close to 12 to 13-inch in length. And I was obviously sure that this cannot be obviously a crate. You cannot fit in, let's say, a fridge or a TV in a box, or in a phone box basically, जिसमें phone आता है. So I knew something is suspicious. स्लिप देखी, स्लिप पे सारी डिटेल सही, सेलर की डिटेल सही, बायर की डिटेल सही, कस्टमर की डिटेल सही, अमेजोन से ऑर्डर लिया, ऑल ओके. बट to my surprise, in that box I found miscellaneous stuff like talcum powder, Dettol, soap,
Okay.
moisturizer, sanitizer, wires, multi-plugs, uh, ghee, small desi ghee in a small bottle, and I don't know what not. So that is the downside of dealing, online, that you do not know who you're dealing with. There could be
Right.
such fraud sitting out there. And now अब उनके लिए क्या हुआ, they got the product, उन्होंने रिटर्न रिक्वेस्ट डाली, रिटर्न में एक्चुअल प्रोडक्ट नहीं दिया, रिफंड भी इनिशिएट करा के पैसे भी ले लिए, तो टेक्निकली उनको पैसे भी वापस मिल गए, प्रोडक्ट भी फ्री में मिल गया. एंड नाउ सेलर इज हैज टू पे फॉर इट, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली ना उनको पैसे वापस मिले, ना उन्हें प्रोडक्ट वापस मिला. सो
तो
दिस इज,
ऐसे तो
या,
ऐसे न्यू सेलर्स को ये चीजें काफी आई थिंक ध्यान में रखनी चाहिए बिफोर स्टार्टिंग से.
exactly,
राइट.
exactly. So that
और
this is one of the downside. Obviously there are other, but I would still say that, I'm the kind of a person who would always prefer to see the positives, and if the
हम्म,
positives overweight the negatives, तो फिर फोकस उसी पे रहता है. तो ठीक
बिल्कुल.
है, मतलब बिजनेस आप करते हो तो वो आपको डे टू डे, आप चाहे ऑफलाइन चलाओ ऑनलाइन चलाओ, आपके शेयर ऑफ स्ट्रगल्स और डिफिकल्टीज और ये सब आती रहेंगी. You
ओके.
have to be smart enough, you have to understand how to deal with it. And ठीक है, obviously there might, so this is the first case that happened with me after, I think, since 2019 till 2021, which is 2 years. 2 years में पहली बार ऐसे हुआ है. तो ठीक है, मतलब as long as I am getting good business out
इट्स
of
जस्ट
it,
अ
I
पार्ट
won't
ऑफ
mind.
एक्सपीरियंस, वो आपको
Yeah,
कहीं ना कहीं
exactly.
मिलते रहेंगे. राइट राइट राइट.
Exactly. It only helps you to grow, because the more
राइट
experience you had, the more understanding you develop कि इस situation से कैसे निकलना है.
राइट
So
राइट राइट.
all part of the journey.
राइट. सो जैसा कि आपने बताई अपनी जर्नी के बारे में, इट साउंड्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग एंड आई रियली एंजॉयड इट. I really
Yeah.
want to know what's your future plan. Like, what do you think
Right.
about? Like, you sound very ambitious. So
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
want
That
to,
I.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, in terms of the future plans, this is something I have also discussed with my team, like the Tech to Globe team, who's handling my Amazon account, and all the basically different marketplaces and marketing in general. The goal, the vision that I have for at least next year or two, I would say, is that we're also looking now to expand a bit, expand our reach a bit. We're already there on Amazon. We just got on board on Flipkart as well. Now on Amazon, we're trying to open up our own store. So I'm not sure
Okay.
if you know this or not, but Amazon पे पहले सिर्फ प्रोडक्ट्स लिस्ट होते थे. अब आप
Mm-hmm.
अपनी माइक्रो वेबसाइट भी बना सकते हो, कि ऊपर आपका ब्रांड बेसिकली मार्केट कर सकते हो आप. समवन क्लिक्स ऑन इट तो सारे आप ही की ब्रांड के प्रोडक्ट्स दिखाएगा. सो
Right,
द
right.
बायर डजंट deviate to some
Confused
other
between
product.
ki, yeah.
Exactly. And they first understand what all products you're dealing in, and then they can make a call as to whether they would want to go for this certain products or not. Because sometimes ये होता है कि हमने सोचा हमें ये चाहिए, बट क्योंकि हम उसको और एक्सप्लोर नहीं कर पा रहे, हमारे दिमाग में ही नहीं क्लिक कर रहा, हम और कैसे एक्सप्लोर करेंगे.
Right,
तो
right,
वो
right.
एक एज दे देता है कि अगर आपकी पूरी मार्केट प्लेस, पूरा आपकी माइक्रो वेबसाइट Amazon पे आ सकती है, it will give much more exposure to the kind of products you deal in. So that's our goal for Jan, in fact, to have that in place. And we're also planning to now explore the marketplaces of Canada and UAE, Dubai. That was another discussion that I was having with the team, कि एक बार हमारा वो micro website set हो जाए, तो उसके बाद we'll try and see how international shipping works, how we can go internationally. And I also actually have plans to, I'm not sure, not to, I would say, completely shift down, but to expand the business in Canadian market as well. I've already
Okay.
some there's some technical work that's already in process from my end that's been going on. At the same point of time, that's what I wanted with the team as well. कि जब तक हम यहाँ पे हैं और जब तक हम physically वहाँ नहीं जा रहे हैं to have our own sort of warehouse and own sort of inventory over there, तब तक यहीं से बैठ के थोड़ा सा understand कर ले वहाँ की market international shipping करके. That will give us a much better and fairer understanding as to how the market is over there, what kind of products are in demand over there. So by the time we finally, physically लेट्स से फ्लाई देयर, वी वुड नो कि ठीक है ये चीजों के अराउंड हमको काम करना है, एक बेसिक प्लान हमारा इन प्लेस होगा। उसके बाद ऑब्वियसली वंस वी गो देयर एंड वी स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन इट, तो वो ग्रेजुअली इट विल कीप ऑन इंक्रीजिंग, और वही जैसे मतलब एज एंड व्हेन वी ग्रो एंड एज एंड व्हेन वी गो, वी अंडरस्टैंड कि ये डिफिकल्टीज आ रही हैं या ये बेटर चल रहा है,
हम्म।
वो फिर obviously part of it होगा। but for now it's obviously to increase, now boost the sales। तो अभी जो हमारा मंथली टारगेट रीच हो रहा है उसको पुश करने में, और कस्टमर एक्सपीरियंस कैसे बढ़ाने में, और कस्टमर्स तक कैसे पहुंचने में, दिस इज द गोल फॉर एटलीस्ट फॉर नेक्स्ट 2 years दैट वी हैव इन माइंड।
ओके, नाइस। एक क्वेश्चन और था मेरा कि जैसे यू मेंशन कि यू स्टार्टेड योर जर्नी लाइक वेरी अर्ली, तो
या
आपको, और आई थिंक आपको सिर्फ 2 या 3 साल हुए हैं करते हुए, राइट?
करेक्ट करेक्ट।
या, तो
Popetatli,
इतने,
yeah, 2 3 years
या
to be precise।
इतने कम टाइम में आपने इतनी सारी नॉलेज कहाँ से, कौन से प्लेटफॉर्म से, या क्या चीज आपने से रीड करी, कहाँ से आपको इतनी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मिली?
So see, जैसे अभी I was saying that when you're in the business you have to understand that there's a lot of competition around, right?
हम्म।
आप कुछ भी कर रहे हो, मतलब ये तो हमारी खैर बचपन से कंडीशनिंग होती है कि पढ़ाई में भी कंपटीशन है, कॉलेज में भी कंपटीशन है, हर
एवरीवेयर।
चीज में। एग्जैक्टली। तो सिमिलरली आप बिजनेस कर रहे हो उसमें भी कंपटीशन है। नाउ यू नीड टू बी ऑनेस्ट विद योरसेल्फ कि आपको किस लेवल का बिजनेस करना है। आपको सिर्फ उतना करना है जितने में आप सेटिस्फाइड हो, आपको उतना करना है कि आप अपने साथ अपने आसपास के सर्कल को भी यू नो एक लेवल ऑफ कंफर्ट और सब कुछ दे सको। आपको उतना करना है कि और आगे लेवल पे जाके आप जिन ऑडियंस को केटर कर रहे हो उनको भी बेस्ट प्रोवाइड कर पाओ जितना कर पाओ। उस विजन के साथ यू हैव टू वर्क। एंड व्हेन यूर इन बिजनेस, एज आई सेड दैट यू कैन नेवर से कि मेरा हो गया। मैंने लेट्स से स्कूलिंग इतनी तक करी, ग्रेजुएशन इतने तक करी, इतने तक मैंने, जब तक मैंने कंपनी नहीं खोली थी उतने तक मैंने इतना एक्सपीरियंस किया, अब मैं पूरी जिंदगी बस इसी लेवल पे चलाऊंगी। अगर वो होता फॉर एग्जाम्पल, तो मेरे को अमेजोन से भी जब मैं खुद से कर रही थी तो आई वॉज गेटिंग, आई वोंट से एक्सेप्शनली वेल बट डिसेंट सेल्स फॉर अ सिंगल पर्सन हु डिडंट हैव एनी एक्सपेंस, क्योंकि कंपनी रजिस्टर्ड नहीं थी, वेबसाइट नहीं थी, कुछ खर्चा था नहीं देखा जाए,
हम्म।
तो मेरे लिए तो वो सफिशिएंट होनी चाहिए थी। बट दैट इज नॉट वेयर आई वांटेड टू स्टॉप। आई अंडरस्टूड कि मेरे को लेट्स से 50 या 100 पेट ओनर्स जिनको मैंने अभी तक ओवर द स्पैन ऑफ 7 8 महीने सर्व किया है, उनसे इतना अच्छा फीडबैक मिल रहा है, उनकी लाइफ में मैं देख पा रही हूँ मेरे प्रोडक्ट से क्या चेंज आ रहा है। तो अगर मैं और वाइडर ऑडियंस तक पहुंच पाऊं और उनकी लाइफ और बेटर कर पाऊं, देन नथिंग लाइक इट। सो दैट्स द काइंड ऑफ मोटिवेशन दैट किक्स इन। कहाँ से सीखा है is there's no, I won't be able to name one single place जहाँ से मैंने सीखा है। I'll be very honest। मेरे को कोई ये भी पूछता है कि आपका कोई एक सिंगल पर्सन हो जो रोल मॉडल हो जिसको यू लुक अप टू, आई पर्सनली फील दैट आप अपने आप को रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर देते हो अगर आप एक ही जने पे अपने आप को रोकते हो कि सिर्फ यही पर्सन मेरा रोल मॉडल है, बिकॉज फिर आप उस बंदे के
एंड आई गेस
पॉजिटिव्स के।
कि आजकल तो ऑनलाइन भी आपको काफी चीजें मिलने लगी है, ऑनलाइन
एग्जैक्टली
प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे आपको इतनी सारी
एग्जैक्टली
नॉलेज है, इतनी फ्री नॉलेज
एग्जैक्टली
अवेलेबल है कि आप वहां से जाके रीड कर
एग्जैक्टली।
सकते हो, राइट?
Correct, correct.
या।
So that exactly, that's a very good point that you've added, because that has been instrumental and crucial in the kind of, I would say education I've gained खुद से, जो भी in general in terms of learning है। तो जैसे आपने बहुत मतलब सही पॉइंट अक्रॉस पुट किया, दैट आई मेक श्योर कि आफ्टर एवरी फ्यू मंथ्स मैं कोई एक नए कोर्स पे रजिस्टर करूँ, चाहे वो डिजिटल मार्केटिंग से रिलेटेड हो, चाहे वो कंपनी को इन जनरल एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर कैसे लीड करते हैं उससे रिलेटेड हो, चाहे वो बिजनेस स्ट्रैटेजी से रिलेटेड हो, वो करती रहूंगी, दिमाग खुलता रहेगा। प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं, प्रॉब्लम्स को कैसे डील करना है समझ आती रहेंगी। जैसे आपने बोला डिजिटल की वजह से, टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से आजकल हम
हम्म।
इतने सारे टच में हो सकते हैं, हम
ट्रू।
फिजिकली कहीं नहीं भी जा रहे हैं, लिंक्डइन के थ्रू, स्काइप के थ्रू, जूम कॉल्स के थ्रू, इस सब के थ्रू यू गेट टू मीट सो मेनी पीपल वर्चुअली, you get to connect with so many people, you get to learn from so many people, that really helps। So I think आजकल के जो हम टाइम में रह रहे हैं, ये टाइम ऐसा है कि किसी को भी कुछ भी बनना है ना, sky is the limit। You just need to
ट्रू।
have that passion within you, you just need to be consistent, you need to be hardworking। if you are able to do that, I think nothing can stop you and you can go as far as you would want।
ट्रू 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 ट्रू।
Yeah।
थैंक यू सो मच बाय द वे कि आपने इतना सारी इंफॉर्मेशन दी। एंड में
Yeah।
आई जस्ट वांट नो कि आप क्या फ्यू टिप्स न्यू सेलर्स को देना चाहते हैं एज अ एंटरप्रेन्योर स्टूडेंट्स जो ऑनलाइन सेलिंग को प्रेफर कर रहे हैं या सोच रहे हैं कि दे कैन बी अ एंटरप्रेन्योर, दे कैन डू द ऑनलाइन सेलिंग एंड फर्दर थिंग्स, सो व्हाट इज द वन और टू टिप्स यू कैन डू टू दीस टाइप ऑफ पीपल?
Okay, so see, for I would say the people who would be just getting started, जो अभी new
हम्म।
आएंगे, चाहे वो students हो, चाहे वो young business, men या women हो, मेरा एक ही suggestion रहेगा, because that is I personally feel everyone has a different sort of, vision and thought process. But I personally feel that you have to just get into it. हम जहाँ पे ज्यादा सोचने लगते हैं ना कि हमको अब हम पहले पूरी स्ट्रैटेजी बनाएंगे, फिर ऐसे करेंगे, फिर ऐसे करेंगे, that might work for few people, it might not work for the others. So you just have to make sure, you firstly you have to be honest with yourself. You
हम्म।
have to बी कॉन्फिडेंट कि आपको ये चाहिए क्योंकि आपको ये चाहिए, इसलिए नहीं क्योंकि लेट्स से पेरेंट्स का प्रेशर है या रिलेटिव्स का प्रेशर है या फिर सोसाइटी ऐसी है या फिर मेरे कुछ फ्रेंड्स ऐसे कर रहे हैं। आजकल ये बहुत मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि ये एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना कूल हो गया है।
राइट।
एवरीवन वांट्स टू put a tagline that I am an entrepreneur. They
या
what people fail to understand is that yes, it is cool to work on your own
द
terms.
हार्ड वर्क बिहाइंड दैट, दैट
Exactly.
जर्नी इज वेरी
Exactly.
या
सबसे ज्यादा बड़ी स्ट्रगल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में ये है दैट आपको कंसिस्टेंट रहना बहुत जरूरी है।
ट्रू।
जब आपके ऊपर कोई वॉच करने वाला नहीं है, आपके ऊपर सुपीरियर या बॉस, यू हैव टू बी ऑनेस्ट टू योरसेल्फ। इफ यू कैन
ट्रू।
नॉट बी ऑनेस्ट टू योरसेल्फ, यू कैन नॉट बी अ गुड, आई वुड से, और सक्सीडिंग एंटरप्रेन्योर। जिस दिन आप खुद से ऑनेस्ट हो गए और जिस दिन आप अगर सिर्फ दो चीजें भी हैं, ऑनेस्टी एंड डेडिकेशन, आई थिंक नथिंग कैन स्टॉप यू। बाकी सारी टेक्निकल नॉलेज कि कैसे बेचना है, क्या करना है, कौन से प्लेटफॉर्म पे करना है, ये सारी नॉलेज आपको ऑनलाइन भी मिल जाएगी। इतने कोर्सेज हैं आज, तो आजकल तो कोर्सेज भी 1,000 रुपए,
ट्रू।
1,500, 2,000 के आने लग गए हैं। तो
ऑल्सो फ्री
टेक्निकल,
प्लेटफॉर्म्स इतने सारे हैं कि यू विल गेट सो मच
एग्जैक्टली,
नॉलेज। यस।
एग्जैक्टली, एग्जैक्टली। सो दैट्स व्हाट टेक्निकल, तो आप कहीं से कुछ भी सीख सकते हो। बट जब तक आपको कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है खुद पे, आप खुद के साथ ऑनेस्ट नहीं हो, आई डोंट थिंक इट्स गोना टेक यू एनी फार। बिकॉज टू बी ऑनेस्ट, आई हैव पर्सनली सीन अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल, आई वुड से अराउंड मी, who are living in a constant sort of confusion and dilemma. They think they're confident, they think they know what they want, but that's what I think stops a person from growing further. So these are the two main, I would say, key ingredients for anyone who has the spark to be an entrepreneur.
राइट, 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 ट्रू, योर वर्ड्स आर लाइक रियली नाइस. Thank you so much, by the way. You are giving us so much insight and
It's
the journey.
actually, I feel really, grateful to be on board, to be a part of, this sort of interview, to share my insights, that you found me to be, I would say, capable enough to share my 2 cents over, what my journey has been so far. So yeah, all thanks to you
One
and
thing I
you.
really liked about you is that you are very young and you are
Yeah,
women. It's a kind of inspiring to many people, even to me,
right,
or like a girl who are, in colleges or schools.
right,
So they
right.
might follow you. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, thank you.
So,
It really means a
yeah.
lot.